New path in a love relationship is opening up for you. The overall energy for this reading is the Two of Wands and the Queen of Cups. Two of Wands is like being at a crossroads. It's choosing a new direction, choosing a new path, redirecting the energy, the passion, the excitement, okay? And you're getting an opportunity to do this around something very emotionally fulfilling, around perhaps a love relationship here with the Queen of Cups. When we see the Queen of Cups, that's feminine water sign energy. So you could be, or they could be a feminine water sign. So that'd be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. Doesn't have to be though. More importantly, this is someone who's very caring, very nurturing, very loving. So, and she's very, very intuitive as well. She's someone who might be incredibly spiritual, might actually practice things like tarot or astrology or spirituality in some form. And I feel like this is definitely some kind of love that's sort of being nurtured here by this new path, this new direction. And I think it's with someone who has been doing a lot of healing. Because in the recent past, we have the Four of Swords starting the reading. So Four of Swords is kind of like being dead to the world. It's focusing on healing, but it's almost like convalescence, right? Like you are hidden away, healing for months. So I feel like that's what's been kind of going on with this person. Like you haven't heard from them in quite some time because they've been focusing on trying to heal themselves, trying to figure themselves out. I feel like this is someone who really suffered from like a lot of victim mentality, at least when you did know them. And they're trying to figure out like how to heal those wounds and kind of take control of their lives a bit better. Because I really feel like from this healing, they've started to learn that the world, the universe, spirit is never actually working against them. It's working for them. When we see the Strength card, this is a recognition that we've been through some tough times. We've been through some hardships. And while gratitude is probably the wrong word for it, we're at least able to express some understanding of how these trials and tribulations have helped make us who we are today and have helped build up our strength, helped build up our character, helped stabilize us, get us on more solid footing. And I feel like this person has either recently reached out to you or is about to recently reach out to you because they really, really want to talk to you. When we see the Knight of Swords, this is fast moving communication that is coming in, and communication that is very, very clear. I feel like this person is wanting to tell you the story of their journey, right? How they've gotten themselves out of kind of victim mentality, how they've learned how to play on their strengths, how they've figured out that while what they've been through has been difficult, it's actually helped them become a better person. And I feel like they're going to be expressing to you how they understand now that like slow, small, steady changes really do add up over time. I feel like this was someone who was rather anxious, maybe very impatient in the past, and they've been able to kind of get themselves to just sort of work on small habits, make small changes that add up each day. So I think like when you see them again, they're gonna seem very, very different. Like they're in a very different energy. So whenever this person is coming in for communication, it's gonna be kind of like a whole other person. And they're gonna kind of tell you, well, you know, like I've just made all these little kind of tweaks to my life. You know, they're getting up earlier in the morning. They're actually exercising. They're, taking care of themselves. They're really working on some internal issues. You know, they're really just making all these little changes that have added up. And I feel like a big part of this is a dropping of anxiety. When we see the Nine of Swords, that is like the up at 3 a.m., just worried beyond belief card. But in the reverse, we're coming out of that energy. We're dropping it. We're leaving it behind. So this person's been able to really work through some anxiousness, maybe some codependent behaviors, maybe some anxiousness in regards to relationships or commitment. And it's because of the amount of reflecting they've been doing. Seven of Pentacles is really about taking an honest assessment of your life, looking at the seeds that you've planted, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what's flourished from that, and really starting to understand that life happens sometimes for a reason. And often, when we reflect back on it, we're at least glad that we are now in a better spot than we once were. Because the upcoming energy here is pretty positive. We've got the Nine of Cups. The Nine of Cups can be wish fulfillment, but it can also be emotional independence. It can be someone who's figured out that they have more control over their own happiness than they realized. There's this little viral video going around, and honestly, it's really staged, but I feel like it kind of plays into this, the image of this. So the idea of this video is it's someone at some kind of sports event, and music comes on. I think it's Moni Moni comes on, and the guy is, nodding his head to the music at first, and then like he stands up, and then like he goes and he does like this big dance, and the caption on it is when you realize that you have more control over your own happiness than you ever thought before, kind of thing. And I feel like this person's kind of gone through this transition where they've figured out, you know what, a lot of my joy, a lot of what makes me happy, it's kind of under my control. Whereas I didn't really think that before. I feel like they were in this energy of like everything's external and allowing the external world to really define when they're happy or how they are happy or what they got happy about. Now they've kind of figured out how to go within, sort of turn on that little internal happy switch kind of whenever they want. And they're a little unbothered by the world around them. And if this person was having money troubles before, they've really established some financial independence here too. Nine of Pentacles is all about establishing, kind of being happy in your own energy, establishing your resources, establishing your garden, if you will. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, it is literally a woman just standing out in her garden, sort of feeling good in her own energy, enjoying the birds, enjoying the plants that have grown. But it's someone who is just really financially independent. So I feel like what's going on here is we've had an establishment of independence, both financial independence and emotional independence, so material resource as well as like spiritual and emotional, that it's really created this major change in this person. And this is very, very healthy. This is exactly what you want of someone that you're in a long-term relationship with, right? You want to be in that Nine of Pentacles, Nine of Cups type energy, and they want to be in that kind of energy too, so that you can come together to form that 10 of Cups, that domestic bliss, and that 10 of Pentacles, that generational wealth, that legacy, that passing down from one generation to the next generation. So you're on the precipice of something really major here, a really big change in this relationship. And I feel like this is something you've been kind of hoping for quite some time. The Three of Wands is all about your ships coming in. When we see the Three of Wands, this is really like you've kind of put out into the universe how you hoped this would go down, right? And you just trusted that the universe would kind of deliver this to you. And when we see the Three of Wands, it's like you see it right there, right? You can see the ships coming into harbor. You can see the package is about to be delivered. You can track the UPS shipping, right? You can see that it's on its way. It's coming. And so I feel like, yeah, this is what's coming up here is y'all really establishing some really healthy self-love as well as resource management, which is so HR me to say, but really just like being very independent, but independent souls who care a lot about one another. Because in the advice, we have the Hierophant. The Hierophant represents strong commitments, represents traditional relationships, represents a spiritual bond. In the original tarot, the Hierophant was the Pope, right? So this was, a Jacob's ladder, someone who joins the spiritual realm to the physical realm, and someone who represents sort of traditional relationships, traditional like marriage, traditional long-term commitments. So I feel like what the advice is here, like expect commitment because it's coming. And I love that in the advice we get the 10 of Pentacles, right? And so commitment's coming. This is another huge commitment card. And I already mentioned the 10 of Pentacles, the 10 of Cups. They are, what happens. That's the next stage of the nines, right? This is generational wealth, legacy, passing down from one generation to another. In the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, we see an older man, like a grandpa, a younger couple, their children, dogs playing, right? This idea of like family and abundance and passing down traditions and love from one generation to the next. And so I feel like the advice is expect that to kind of come into fruition between you. Because the timing is right at this point in time. I think before, when you were talking to this person or the last time you saw this person, just all the timing was off. Like everything was just sort of wrong. But this go around, the universe is working in your favor, right? The Wheel of Fortune is turning in favor of this connection. It's bringing you both back together at a perfect moment where you can come together in this very healthy way to create this abundance, to create this commitment, to create a long-standing relationship. It's also emblematic of trusting divine timing, right? When we see the Wheel of Fortune, things are kind of outside your control, okay? This is coming in for you. And I don't know that you've done anything other than kind of go on your own healing journey, go on your own healing path. Because I feel like when you guys come together for this conversation, if you haven't already, I feel like both of you are really going to be kind of sharing this with one another, sort of what your journey's been like, what you've learned, how you've grown. So I really feel like this heart to heart, whether you've had it yet or you're about to have it, it's really going to help you by reflecting on the past, by releasing these old things, this old anxiety, by recognizing the importance of making these small changes over long periods of time. Is really building towards this ultimate happiness between the two of you. And you're just going to be on the same page in a way that I think you never really expected to see, but are so grateful to have now. That's what I have for you. If you would be interested in a personal reading for me, please check the description.